Hey, what's up you all? Welcome back to my channel. This is Gabby. I hope you all are doing so well. Today I wanted to come to you all with a video that I think would be very helpful for those who recently graduated with their bachelor's in social work degree or their master's in social work. So if you're anything like I was, you're probably in this phase of life where you're wondering what's next, or what are some areas in your life that you should be focusing on, or how can you really start to propel yourself to the next level? What are those things that maybe you should be thinking about right now? First off, I want to say congratulations. You've worked so hard to get here and you should be very proud of yourself. But in this video, I want to be very straight to the point and just give you 8 tips or 8 things that you can consider now that you just graduated and received your social work degree. So let's get right into the video. So first, this ties into what I just mentioned, but I think you should take a little bit of time to just pat yourself on the back, be super proud of this accomplishment because you did it and it wasn't easy. It was very time intensive, very financially intensive, labor intensive, and you finally got to the finish line because of your hard work and dedication. So really let that sink in and be proud of yourself. And I know there's a narrative going around about college educations being useless or not very important or not worth the investment. But speaking from personal experience, I can say that me having my master's in social work degree put me in places I don't think I've ever would have been able to be in if I didn't have this degree. It's opened up doors for me that I didn't even know existed, and it's given me the opportunity to get jobs, to build a career that continues to serve me. But I still think, and studies show, that getting a college degree does significantly impact your overall lifetime earnings. So yeah, just spend that time celebrating yourself and patting yourself on the back because this is something major and you should really be proud. All right, so number 2, after you spent some time celebrating and just living in that joy of graduation, it's time to talk business, right? If you just received your bachelor's degree, one big question you may have is if and when you want to go forward and get your master's degree. And that's a really big decision. So I'm going to walk through some pros and cons so you can think about this as you make your decision. So let's start with the pros. Of course, one of the pros of getting your master's degree after you get your bachelor's degree is that it's going to improve your overall lifetime earning and it's going to open up the opportunities that you have within the job force. And you still have that momentum and you still are in the habit of studying and you're just still in the flow of school. So perhaps it's good to go right into that master's program because of that. Also, if you go right into your master's degree, you can finish the school phase quickly and then move on with the rest of your life. I know many of us have other goals in life and things that we want to accomplish that isn't connected to our educational goals. So if you just go from your bachelor's to your master's, that gives you more time and it gives you the opportunity to start building in those other areas of life much sooner. So these are actually the reasons I decided to go directly from my bachelor's program to my master's program, but it's different for everyone, right? We all have different life experiences. So let's get into the con of taking that route. So one of the cons is when you get into your master's program, you're going to have more limited life experience and just overall practical work experience. So you may go into your master's program with less focus or a strategic goal in mind about how you want to maximize and use your master's. Your master's degree program is going to be more exploratory in nature and less focused. So some people may like it being more exploratory of an experience, but other people may feel that if they're, dedicating so much money to this initiative, they want to ensure that they know 100%, or at least with as much certainty as possible, what they want to do with that degree, because we never know 100%. But yeah, not having that practical work experience can be a con if you want to go right from your bachelor's to your master's. Another con of going straight into your master's program is that you probably haven't had a lot of time, or you haven't had that work experience that allowed you to save up money that you can use to pay for that degree. We all know how expensive education is, specifically at the graduate level. So having money saved up from working means that you'd have to take out less loans and you wouldn't have to worry about paying money back with that interest rate attached to it. So these are all things that you want to consider after you graduate, specifically if it was only a bachelor's program. Another thing that's along the same lines that you want to think about is whether or not you want to take that traditional gap year. So when I use the term gap year, I don't mean just going and finding a traditional job. Typically, a gap year involves some kind of transformative experience that's a little bit outside of the box. So it gives people the opportunity to do something that's kind of adventurous that they may not be able to do later in life once, they settle down more, have that full-time career, kids, etc. So consider whether or not a gap year is for you. So some examples of things that you can do during your gap year is a fellowship program. I always talk about this in every one of my videos, but basically this is a transformative professional development experience that is usually 6 to 12 months, and it allows you to take on a position that basically trades the maximum amount of money for an experience that you couldn't otherwise get. It gives you the chance to learn new skills and work under the leadership of some super amazing people that maybe right out of school you wouldn't have had the chance to work with. But like I said before, you are kind of exchanging money for that super amazing experience. So if you get a full-time job, you may be making, let's say, $50,000 a year, but a fellowship program on the other end may pay you $35,000 a year, and that $15,000 that you're not getting, you're instead getting in a very unique experience. I hope that makes sense, but that's one thing you could do with your gap year. Another gap year experience that I highly recommend and took advantage of myself is teaching English abroad. And if you know another language, you can teach another language, or you could take advantage of programs like Fulbright, where you could do research abroad or utilize another skill set that you have in order to get some kind of work in another country. And I can definitely say that it is an amazing experience that I will always reflect fondly on. So there are many different things you can do during a gap year. So definitely do some more research on that if anything I mentioned sounds interesting. And just consider that for yourself now that you've recently graduated and you're planning for your next step. Okay, so I haven't been doing the countdown, but I think we're on number 4 now. So the 4th tip that I want to give you now that you recently got your social work degree is to tap into alumni services at the school that you just graduated from. And this is specifically important for those who want to go right into the workforce, or if you want to go into a grad program as well, I think this will be important. But this is a service a lot of people don't take advantage of. Most colleges and universities provide specific alumni services for folks who've recently graduated from their institutions. So you can literally call and make an appointment with someone in alumni services. They can sit down with you, go over your resume with you, go over your LinkedIn page, or any other professional development kind of help that you need. And since you are an official alumni and you are connected to the school, it should be completely free of charge. Now, I will say that the assistance they're going to give you is going to be a bit on the general side, and it may not be as specified to, your specific needs, because that person who's helping you in the alumni department may not have strong social work experiences or a social work background at all. So they may not be able to give you, very specific advice on how to break into social work, but I think with that general assistance you need, that is a great first step. And of course, I have to say this, shameless plug, anyone who did recently graduate, if you are looking for coaching or career assistance that is specifically focused on social work or breaking into macro social work, anything like that, of course, I am a career coach and I do offer that service. So you can check out my website at www.mindyoursociety.com. And of course, I always leave it linked in the description box of my videos as well. But definitely take advantage of those alumni services because they are there specifically to help you. And number 5 is to sit down and really identify faculty or professors that you've connected with in some way during your educational experience. Write those names down, and if you don't already have their contact or if you haven't already discussed them being your reference, give them a call and just kindly ask if they're okay with serving as a reference as you apply for your jobs or apply for grad school. You should really cultivate and leverage the relationships that you have with faculty and professors, because as you move to the next phase in your life, a lot of jobs and professional experiences will ask you for references. So those individuals can serve as great references for you, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience. Okay, so number 6, this may not be a very fun thing for you to think about if you've recently graduated, but it's very important. Straighten out your finances, and specifically sit down and go to whatever your student loan portal is. If you do happen to have student loans, get a full understanding and picture on exactly how much student loans you owe and what the interest rate on all of those loans are. When I was in grad school, I admit I was terrified to really know what that number was because I just wanted to not think about it for as long as possible. My way of dealing with it was just to pretend that it didn't exist. But it's really important for you to understand and take control over your student loan debt and create a plan of action. Because the last thing you want is for you to not pay on your student loan debt and then it impacts your credit, and now you're in a big old financial mess. Even if you can only pay $5 to $10 a month on your student loan debt, it's really important to make a strategy for paying them back and to see what repayment plan works best for you and fits your current lifestyle the best. And also outside of even your student loans, it's just important to get your budget together, figure out what areas you want to prioritize your spending on, and also figure out a plan for saving. I know that some of us, we don't really take it serious in school. Maybe we're so busy with studying and homework that we don't really put the time toward our financial health like we should. But now that you've graduated, it's really time to buckle down and put focus on your financial future. So if you don't already have a budget, make a budget for yourself. You can do that really simply using Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have a plan for how you want to start tackling your student loan debt, this is a great time to do that as well. So another important thing you can do now that you are an official social work school graduate is to open up your laptop, go to Google, and simply put in your name. Now, this may sound weird, but it's something that I recommend for all of my coaching clients. Just Google yourself and see what comes up. Now, some of the things may surprise you. It may be some social media post that doesn't put you in the best light. And you have to ask yourself, now that you're no longer a student and you are a professional, is that the image that you want to portray to the world? Is that the first impression that you want people to have of you? You want to make sure that your image online is not damaging or something that's going to put you in a negative light. A lot of people don't think about this, but Googling yourself and nothing coming up can also kind of be an issue as well, because when you're applying for jobs, ideally the person on the other end will be able to look you up and see at least a few things about you professionally that put you in a positive light. So that can be as simple as just your LinkedIn page. So hint, hint, it's important for you to have a LinkedIn page. Some people even take it a step further and make a professional website for themselves. Not saying that's something that you have to do, but it does look good. But for now, if you Google yourself and that doesn't pop up, it's fine. You can build yourself up to that. But at the very least, you want to make sure that nothing negative pops up. So my next tip is for those who may not be clear on what they want their next steps to be at all. Maybe you're one of those people who you're kind of thinking about going back to school. You kind of want to go into the job search, but a gap year also sounds cool. Don't allow that uncertainty to keep you frozen. It's totally okay to not know exactly what you want to do. Just use this time to try new things and be okay and be flexible enough to learn as you go. You're going to learn, you're going to make connections, and all of these experiences are going to help get you to the next phase in your life. When you're building your professional career, it really is kind of like building blocks. Every experience will give you something, even if it's something small, that you can take with you to give you clarity on what you want to do next. It may take a little time for you to find, that ideal job that you really feel is the best fit. So to sum this up, don't allow uncertainty to keep you frozen, and don't be afraid to take risk, even if you're not sure that that's the 100% best decision for you to make. Okay, so last but not least, now that you're a recent graduate, I want you to make sure that you define your own success and you define what that looks like and what that means for you. No one else can tell you what success is. So as best as you can, try not to allow other people to determine what success or what next steps you should take in life. Of course, it's always good to get counsel and to talk to family members, get their opinion, get their advice. But at the end of the day, it's really up to you and it's your life. So you have to make the decision that's best for you. I know it may be a little bit of a nerve-wracking time, but it's a beautiful time because there's so many different paths that you can take. But that can be scary as well, because when you have so many paths, you may be afraid of going down the wrong route. But there is really no wrong route, because you can always put your foot on the brake and change your route. So I hope this video helps you to feel empowered. I'm so excited and proud of you all. Yeah, I hope these tips can be somewhat helpful for you. If you have any other tips that you'd like to leave for your fellow recent grads, or maybe you've graduated a while ago and you want to leave tips for others, please leave those in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all in my next video. Bye-bye.